Morning, 7:09. I am boiling water. I'm gonna help myself to a big cup of coffee. It's 4 miles to Bowling Springs, and I think I've got about 18 miles, plus or minus, yeah, about 18 miles today. It got down to 24.5 degrees last night, and setting up lower and putting the tarp down lower definitely helped. One thing I haven't talked about is the top quilt. The top quilt's rated for 30 degrees, and it was 24 degrees last night. It was absolutely, totally comfortable. Yeah, it's great. It's a great quilt. I think the under quilts are doing their job. But I will bring a pad. I will not bring the pad again. Plus, I think I'm gonna try staying in the shelter sometimes, if not a lot, especially if I really want to, get up early and get out. And then I believe, actually, from what I understand, when you're in the Smokies, you have to stay in the shelters unless they're full. And I'm hoping that because of when I'm starting, I really want people to be around. But I'm hoping that when I start, it's not like a whole lot. It'd be nice if I was, hanging out with anywhere from 3 to, 8 people a night. I think that'd be really cool. The reason I camp by myself is because if I waited for somebody to go with me, I'd never go. So, I learned a new lesson last night. I realized this the night before, but I think last night I realized what I did wrong the night before. I had full battery and I left something plugged in all night the night before, and it was down to 1 in the morning, and actually kicked. So I did that again last night. I was charging my phone and I left it in while watching a movie, and I fell asleep, and it was the second battery, which was new, and that was just about kicked in the middle of the night. I know that temperature affects lithium batteries heavily, so that's the other thing. It's affecting all my electronics. So right now my watch is just about dead. My GPS is really low. I'm hoping that it doesn't stop tracking me today. I'm not that worried about it because I'm 4 miles from a town, so I'll be in town soon. Yeah, I just bummed because I really want to track myself. I like knowing what I did today. I'm not saying that the Apple Watch is the most accurate GPS tracker in the world, but for the most part, it seems to line up really well with what I see on FarOut. And I just like numbers. I just like data. Like, data's awesome. Anyway, my water just started boiling, but this is unfiltered water, so I'm gonna leave it boiling for quite some time now. And then I'm gonna have my coffee, and then I'm gonna get on with the day. Timing's perfect. It's bright enough for me to start hiking. The only thing is that 4 miles, I should be there in at most 2 hours, which puts me there around 9:30. So I'm hoping some places are open. I'd like to sit down somewhere for about an hour and just charge. Yeah, charge the batteries and the GPS. The rest of it, my phone is pretty full right now. So the rest of it I could charge tonight if I can get a decent amount of charge on both batteries over the hour, maybe an hour and a half. Yeah. Well, on with it.
So there's these signs that say that they're maintaining these crops to preserve the historic scenery, something like that. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's beautiful, don't get me wrong. And I think if the crops are being used, that's great. But the wording makes it sound like it's just for shits and giggles. Along with that too, if there's like, because I know in my area, is probably everywhere in the United States and around the world, there's just, you know, there's places where they just kind of recreate, you know, history for education, and which is awesome too. So that's the positive. But if there's no real reason for this, because I don't see any, you know, kind of historic, you know, like a ironworks, or, you know, this is how a farm was run in the, you know, what was it, 50s? So I don't see anything like that. So if the only reason to do this is for looks, I think that these lands could be better used as meadows for pollinators, habitat for, you know, animals that live like in meadows. If the crops are being used and are necessary, then yeah, but I think I should probably say that too. Not just that it's to create a scene. Here's a beautiful scene for you to walk through that serves no purpose. I'm not saying it doesn't serve a purpose. I'm not assuming that. I'm just saying if it does serve a purpose, that's great. If it doesn't serve a purpose, I think a beautiful meadow would probably be a much better use of this land. Less pesticides, less herbicides, more pollinators. Let me know what you think. So the next 8 or 9 miles or so, it's going to be pretty flat. So I should be making good time. A lot of times on flat ground, I'm around 3 miles an hour, maybe a little bit more, doing like 18, 17 minute miles. So from when I left the Cafe 101 is where I stopped. I ate breakfast. I had their huevos rancheros. It was okay, but their oatmeal with fruit was dope. I like that. So anyways, from there to Darlington something shelter is about 14 and a half miles. Oh, here's another thing. If you're not on the trail, FarOut numbers are different. If you're off the trail just a little bit, it does a different calculation to calculate the distance to the next spot. I'm assuming it's taking the most direct route. For instance, sitting in the cafe which was maybe 0.1, 0.2 off of the trail, said that the Darlington whatever shelter is 12 miles away. But once I get on the trail, then it's 14 and some change. So I think that could explain some of the miscalculations I've had since beginning the trip. Yeah, so there's that. I'm not entirely sure, but I think I was somewhere around there this morning. Well, this is the last night of this trip. 10 miles tomorrow to Duncannon. So 18.2 miles was the distance on, I almost called it gut hooks, FarOut and from the last shelter. And I really wish there was a way for me to tell, looking across at those mountains, which one I came from. I was trying to go off of the mountains that I saw on the map when I zoomed out and what I was looking at. My knees did great yesterday, and yesterday was like a 20-mile day. My knees did great today until till right when I got to camp. Right when I got to camp, my right knee, not the one that was bothering me before, got spoke up and said that it's had enough. And it was just so weird. It was doing something so just walking around. I didn't even have my backpack on or anything, and it just kind of locked up. It's on the outside. I knew, I believe, let me not say no, I believe it is the IT band. So I stuck a tennis ball deep in that hip up towards the top and just laid on it and took deep breaths and moved my leg and through the range of motion and rolled out the thighs, the inside of the thigh, the outside of the thigh, and did some stretching, and automatically went from how the f am I going to get off this mountain tomorrow to, oh, okay, I can walk. I tried to have a fire tonight, but honestly, even with the fire, I got a good fire going tonight. And even with the fire going on this ridge with the wind blowing, the fire did absolutely nothing. So it was kind of a waste. I put the compression sleeves on both knees tonight while I sleep. I have the anti-inflammatories in my pocket in here with me, so that first thing in the morning when I get up, which should be sometime around 6 o'clock, sounded like maybe somebody was coming up here, or a bird, some sort of weird bird, or maybe a dog barking in the background, in the distance. There was a repetitiveness to it. Anyway, so yeah, tomorrow Hopefully my knees treat me well. I try to treat them well tonight. It is downhill, and that's the painful stuff. But I'm just gonna do my best to be mindful. Anyway, good night.